Hello and welcome back to Bookish. Today I wanted to do my nonfiction November TBR and float the possibility that I might be taking part in Novella November as well. So if you watched my last video when I did my Victober wrap-up, I confessed that I'm having a problem with my TBRs, that I'm making them overly ambitious. So part of this is for books I for sure want to try to read, and part of it is books that I hope to get to read. So nonfiction November 1st. I've already started reading my first nonfiction title, which is The Viking Wars by Max Adams. So I saw this book on Steve Donahue's channel in one of his, daily unboxings, and I really got excited about the idea of reading a new book about the Viking Wars. This has been something that has interested me since I was an undergraduate in college. I took a class on medieval British history from one of my favorite college professors, even though she never really graded anything or gave it back. Her name was Dr. Malpas, and she was actually kind of an expert on Vikings. And so anything she said, or any time she got to talk about Vikings in class, it was always really interesting. And I just kind of like this age of Viking invasions and before the formation of England as we think about it, and Alfred the Great. And that's what this book is about, and I've started reading it, and it is not the simplest read in the world. There are a lot of terms and names and places that I have to kind of go back and check that I know where they are and who we're talking about, but it is very interesting, and I'm definitely looking forward to that. So I chose this book first on my nonfiction TBR, nonfiction November TBR, because if there's one book I want to read this month, it's this book. So Viking Wars is one of the books on my nonfiction November TBR. Another book I also saw on Steve Donahue's channel during one of his many unboxings, and that's this book. It's Through Two Doors at Once, The Elegant Experiment That Captures the Enigma of Our Quantum Reality. So I am kind of a sucker for science books about quantum physics, and I know what this experiment is about, and I know its impact, but I really was looking forward to, and I'm really excited to see this book, and I'm really looking forward to reading about those experiments and learning even more about that, how that experiment kind of highlights the difference between what we think of as the visible world perhaps and the world at the universe maybe even at the quantum level. So I'm looking forward to reading Through Two Doors at Once. And kind of getting back into reading some science and physics again, which is actually one of the things I really like to read about. And then my third book, and I'm limiting myself to 3 books for nonfiction November. My third book is Just Kids by Patti Smith, and this is a book I've been meaning to read for quite some time. The story of the musician Patti Smith and her relationship with the artist Robert Mapplethorpe, and the whole time period of the creative time period in New York of the 70s and I suppose the 80s. It's just been a book that I've heard a lot about. You can tell from the cover it's a National Book Award winner, and I'm really looking forward to reading that, and I've been meaning to read it for a long time. So limiting myself then to just 3 books on my nonfiction November TBR. Part of the reason why I want to limit my nonfiction November TBR is because I'm a teacher, and on November the 9th, which is just 8 short days from today, my students are going to turn in research papers to me. I teach about 140 to 150 students right now, and that means I will have 140 to 150 research papers to grade before the end of the semester in December. That is definitely going to cut into my reading time. So what I'm trying to do is get as much of it done before November the 9th as I possibly can, and it doesn't make me optimistic about how much reading I'll get to do. But I also learned about the existence of Novella November, and so I thought, I want to do that too. I'll leave a link, by the way, down below to the channel, whose name right now I can't remember, but maybe I'll put a graphic on the screen of the host of Novella November. But that sounded really kind of interesting to me. It's kind of a time period in which we're supposed to appreciate the art of novella writing, and so I thought that sounds pretty good. And maybe during nonfiction November, I'll want a little fiction break. So I went to my shelves to see if I just had some novellas, and sure enough I did. the novella I'm for sure going to read, if I get around to reading one, will be one by William Trevor. If you've watched my channel, you know that I'm a huge William Trevor fan, and I own this book, which is actually just two novellas. It's called Two Lives, but it's two novellas by William Trevor, and any chance I get to read William Trevor, I'm going to. And so the novella in question is called My House in Umbria, and it's the second of the novellas here in this book by William Trevor. And I'm really kind of excited and looking forward to that, and kind of having an excuse to read novella since I've had some on my shelf. And if, you know, all the tumblers of the universe fall into place perfectly, I may also then read a novella by Italo Calvino. Probably The Non-Existent Night would be the one that I read. At any rate, that is my nonfiction November TBR, along with the slight possibility of a little Novella November thrown in there as well. Let me know what you think of the books I chose, and let me know what you're reading. If you haven't already put out your nonfiction November TBR or your Novella November TBR, let me know what you're going to read in the comments section. Thanks for watching.